Hi, this is Seema and I am back with a new lesson on idioms or expressions related to food. Well, this is a very interesting lesson because I'm going to deal with very interesting expressions which talk about words which relate to food, but their meanings are thoroughly different. Well, what are they? The first one is egghead. Well, who is an egghead, or what kind of people are called egghead? An egghead refers to people who are unusually intelligent, or people who are like really clever, or maybe in school, if you have someone who is very studious, they would be people who are normally called egghead. So egghead, as I said, refers to unusually intelligent people or people who are very learned, very studious. So if you're at work and you know someone who is really brainy, you can say something like, Mr. Smith from the marketing department has the best ideas because he is a real egghead. Or if you're at school, you can say something like, Jane will make it to the top in her final exams because she's always been an egghead. Our next expression related to food is called big cheese. Well, this expression is so yummy, but that's not what it means at all. Big cheese actually refers to someone who is very influential, or can I say someone who is very powerful? Now, there are some people in the company, they're really called the big cheese because they're very powerful. They are in a position of a lot of power. So you can say something like, Mr. Waters is a big cheese. Do you know him? If you want to find a job, you should maybe have a word with him because he is very influential or very powerful. Our next expression related to idioms with food is couch potato. Well, the very word couch and potato kind of tells you what it could mean. Well, I know a lot of people who are couch potatoes. I was one of them, okay? Now, couch potato is refers to some people who are very lazy, people who sit around all day watching TV. Now, it is believed that there is at least one couch potato in a home. So if you are at home, there is that one person, your sibling, or maybe yourself, or maybe one of your parents, who always loves to just sit, do nothing, and watch TV, eating all day. So couch potato is nothing but lazy people who just watch TV all day long. Our next expression refers to another very yummy term, a very yummy food rather, but the idiom is called tough cookie. Well, what does tough cookie mean? It refers to a person who is very determined, or it could refer to some people who are extremely difficult to deal with. You know, there are some people who just won't listen to you. There are some people who are so determined that they just want their way all the time. Such people are referred to as tough cookies. Well, I used to have a friend who used to work in a call center, and she used to get a lot of calls from customers who were extremely angry because, you know, they had certain problems. And she would try her best to solve those problems by herself, but they were very difficult to deal with because they would insist on talking with a manager. So she would end up saying something like, Today, I spoke to a customer who was one tough cookie. He insisted on talking with a supervisor. So a tough cookie is nothing but people who are very determined, very stubborn, and very difficult to deal with. People who want to have their way all the time. Our next expression is top banana. Well, what does top banana really mean? Well, a top banana is a person who is the leader or someone who is heading a group. Well, I remember this one time when I was a part of a project and we had, a certain person who was the top banana because he was obviously the head or the leader of that project. But he would never ever let us leave on time because we were always made to work that extra bit of hours, and we'd end up saying something like, we've got to ask the top banana as to when we can leave. It's kind of getting late already. So a top banana is nothing but someone who is a leader, someone who heads a project or heads a particular group. And our next expression is bad apple. Well, who do we call a bad apple? Or what kind of people are called bad apples? A bad apple is someone who is a criminal, or shall I say someone who is a troublemaker. I know a friend of mine who works in the HR department, and as you already know, people who work in the HR department, they hire new employees. But there was this one person who was a bad apple. So they could not hire a bad apple because of his records, because he could have been a criminal or he could have had a past as a troublemaker. Someone who stirs up trouble, and that's what bad apple is all about. Someone who is not a very good person, someone who's got a criminal record. Our next expression is sour grapes. Well, what does sour grapes mean? Sour grapes is nothing but pretending to not want something. Now listen to me very carefully. This is an expression you will use when you are trying to explain to someone how you don't want something because you can't have it. So if I'm trying really hard to get something and I want something so bad, but after trying again and again and again, I have not been able to get it, then that's called sour grapes. You call the grapes sour because you wanted to eat those grapes, but you couldn't get them, so you acted like they were sour. So in other words, you are pretending to not want something because you can't have it. So, there is a team who's playing football against another team, and they've tried very hard to win, but yet they lost. And at the end, do you know what they say? Well, we didn't want to win anyway. That's what sour grapes is all about. Our next expression talks about a very interesting word called lemon, but that is coupled with the word law. Well, we all know what the word law means. Law is nothing but a set of rules that people have to follow, a certain set of procedures or policies that we have to deal with. But lemon law, what does that mean? A lemon law basically is a law that protects people against the sale of defective goods. A lot of times you go to a store, you buy a handset, and guess what? The next day, your handset does not even charge. Your handset maybe freezes every time. Now, this is a new product, but it is obviously defective. Now, there are laws in place to protect you as a consumer from such sales which give you products which are not working very well, and that's what a lemon law is. A lemon law is there to help you against the buying of such defective goods. Well, that's it from me on this lesson on idioms or expressions related to food. Well, I hope you found it interesting enough to use it every day whenever you can. Well, that's it from me on this lesson. I'll be back with some more. Until then, this is me saying goodbye.